All right, so welcome everybody. If anybody has any questions or things that they want to talk about tonight, please let me know. I had a couple questions. People were emailing me a little bit about lease options, rent to own, some of the questions about that. Yeah, sure. So yeah, just type in your questions and we'll answer them and we'll go over it. I don't have any deals to analyze tonight currently, so we can continue to talk about anything that you'd like to cover tonight. I did have some questions about lease options, so I can talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, you can type in your questions. Looks like some people are typing. Okay, nobody's typing anymore. Oh, here we go. Okay. Would you consider deals with potential profit in the next 12 months, or no, we don't buy potentials? Typically, no. What do you mean by that? Is there something you're working on? I would say that, how sure are we going to make some money in 12 months? Why can't we make money now and in 12 months we can make money? Is kind of the question, I guess. I mean, when we flip properties, we are not able to cash flow. So clearly, you're taking on a property 3 months later, 6 months later, well, it should take 6 months, but 3 months later, you're going to flip up the property and make money. But deferring 12 months, it would have to be, we'd have to look at that. So new lease with new tenants leaving next year. So you mean the current renter does not produce cash flow? Is that what you mean? So how big is the difference? Are we talking about? And not paying utilities. Okay, so and you're sure how are you going to rent is very low? What's the difference between the two rents? Typically, if someone's leases expire, they still can, it just flips to a month to month. So it's not like we can just evict them for no reason. Multi-commercial, only one is leasing the whole space. Okay, multi-commercial. So it's not rentals, it's commercial property, businesses. 3 units, all business. 2 business. And the third unit is what? 1 residential. Okay, so you're hoping that the business lease agreement is going to be up and the person's going to leave. Is that what we're talking about? Okay. So you're intending on raising the rent and them leaving because you're raising rent? Is that what you mean? The current utilities are on landlord. Okay. So you want to renegotiate the lease with the utilities being charged back to the tenants, yes? Flower shop is very high hydro. I could imagine. So is it taking a loss right now, Michael? Okay. What's the difference between the current rent and the rent that you want to charge? it would be losing 10K a year. And you're saying that the increase in rent will far surpass that? How much would it be profiting per year once the leases are renegotiated? One unit is not collecting lease given charity for church to use. And you're going to, in 12 months, this unit is going to get rent, is that right? So when you ran the numbers, right now it's losing 10K a year. How much will it be making once the rent adjustments are done? The area is better on residential. How much will the building make when you run the numbers with the rents that you're going to charge? So you're losing 10K now. How much would it make, when you run it with your numbers? What would be the new amount that you would be anticipating with the new leases? Currently, owners collecting only about 24K. Okay, what profit would you be making? You're saying it would lose 10K, at least double that. But that's gross rent, right? What is the profit that you'll be making? What's the profit though? You're losing 10K right now. What would be the profit when it's all fixed, done right with the leases? Michael, have you run the numbers? Have you run the numbers with the new expenses that you're talking about? Only hydro will change. Okay, Michael, why don't you tell me the numbers and let's punch them in. Currently 7K a year. Why don't we just run the numbers together, okay? Okay, let's do it together. Okay, so why don't you, here, I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see this, okay? Okay, everybody see my screen okay? Can everybody see the screen okay? Okay, good. All right, so let's do the numbers. Michael, what's the purchase price? What's the asking price? Can we do it in a few minutes? I'll bring it up. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's shelf that for a second. We'll run that in a moment. Does anybody else have any questions? No worries. Anybody have any questions? Or anything they wanted to talk about tonight? Like I said, I had some questions about lease options. Well, I'll let you type in questions as I talk about lease options. So I received an email with some questions about lease options. And the questions were, how much should we be looking for in cash flow for a lease option? And really that's a case-by-case basis. Obviously, we want to have positive cash flow, but there's not a specific amount that we could say we're looking for this. Obviously, we don't want, you know, on a lease option, you know, you'd want to make at least, I would say it shouldn't be hard to make $200 more. You know, it should be okay. It shouldn't be really less than 200. Again, we have to look at it case by case, but a couple $100 if it's, you know, it's a residential property is fair. All the other numbers have to make sense though, obviously. So, you know, I'd say $200 is you can use as a you know, as a guide, but really it's a case by case basis. Okay. So, buy, rent, and hold. How much are we looking for cash flow and ROI? So buy, rent, and hold, if we're talking about, you know, 2 to 4 units, because 5 plus typically is commercial. And even if you're looking for commercial really all the way up, you're looking for 75 a door. So right here, right? 75 a door, these 3 things we're looking for. We're looking for 10% ROI on cash flow of 75 a door unit, and investment in the deal 10% or less. That's our guide. Now that we can work outside those parameters, but there has to be a reason why. You know, we'd have to look at the deal itself. But those are the guides that you're looking for. Does that answer your question? Good, excellent. So the other question I had about rent to own, the non-refundable option consideration. Looks like someone told them this student, which doesn't really matter who it is, but that they can get the money back if it's non-refundable, and that's not the case. If the contracts are drawn up correctly, the non-refundable option consideration is exactly that. It's non-refundable. Now the tenant needs to know. The tenant buyer needs to know that, right? That's what it is. And again, we always ask those who do business with us to seek legal advice. We always want to do that. So it's important for us to recognize, you know, that we want it to be transparent. We want everyone to see what we're doing. And we want them to understand that money will not be refunded unless they move forward with the deal. It's non-refundable. It's optional that we give it back. Okay? So that's the question really for lawyers to draw up the contract. You're not doing anything illegal. Obviously, you have to. This is why we consult lawyers when we're drawing up these contracts, to ensure that we can do what we need to do. This is very important. The additional point I want to make before I go to the next question in reference to it. It's important that, you know, we couple our education with our activities. So, you know, if your interest is in lease options, then I would really want you to at least go through the on-demand of lease options before you really dive in to ask questions about it. Now, if something comes up in the midterm, in the interim where you have an opportunity, I understand. But I would rather you go through the education and then, you know, start moving forward and making things happen, right? Because a lot of those questions are going to be answered, and it's much more efficient of time and effort for you to at least go through the on-demand before you proceed and hit those roadblocks that maybe weren't addressed or you didn't completely see in the training, which typically everything's covered A to Z. Then what, you know, that's awesome. Let's move forward. But I do want you to take the effort and the time to go through the education, right? Take the training. That's what's really going to get you to the next level. Okay. So whatever area you've trained in, that's the area you should focus in. If something comes across that you need some assistance, you know, I'll help. But I really want you to focus on the areas you've been trained, because that's the best opportunity for you to invest and profit. Okay. Next question. The question was, it seems like despite the lease option providing more monthly income, there's some cash at the beginning, at the end, not all that money should be actually considered yours as part of the profit. I'm just feeling like, okay. So when you calculate a lease option, when you calculate the profit of a lease option, you know, should you be counting the non-refundable option consideration at the front of the deal and the rent credits, if you choose to use rent credits on that particular type of investment? Because you don't have to use rent credits, but we use rent credits to help the tenant buyer buy at the end of the term because they have enough money, and it helps for cash flow. Now, those things, you know, if you count them, You just have to take it off your profit at the end. If you don't count them, then you get everything, the whole profit at the end. So it's really the same thing. If you're counting that money, if you're allowed to use the non-refundable option consideration, you're allowed to use, unless you contracted something different, but you can use that non-refundable option consideration. You can use those rent credits, because from the moment the deal's put together, you're already in profit. Even if they decide to buy in the first year, you're already in profit, so you can use that money, right? Obviously, when if they decide to buy in a year and you have to recover the money, it can be recovered. You'd have to use alternate means, but the amount of money difference between the non-refundable and the rent credits would definitely should cover that first year. So just an example here, okay? So let's say we're dealing with a $400,000 home, okay? So it's $400,000. So the ARV, we're not looking at the ARV, because the ARV, there's no ARV, okay? The house is fine, it's there. I'm just gonna do this real quick. Okay, so we're making it a rent to own, okay? So the vacancy, maintenance, and property management. So we go over to expenses here. They're all going to be zeros, right? Because we're not paying for any of that stuff, okay? We're not paying for any of that stuff. We're not paying for vacancy maintenance. Now, we still have other bills, right? We still have taxes. We still have insurance. We still have, well, this, we wouldn't have that. They'd be paying that, okay? And water and heater, we wouldn't be paying that. So let's say the taxes on this property, it's $400,000. So let's say it's $4,000. Let's go 40,000 is a little bit high. Let's go 4,000. And let's say that the insurance is $1,500 bucks. Okay? It's house insurance, okay? So when we come back over here, we look at the amount. Oh, see, that's not working. Okay, hold on 1 second. I need to update this on this sheet. So this should sum this. Give me 1 second. Equals. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to update this on the sheet. So you're going to download this again, okay? Because as I go through this, I want to make sure you have the best sheet possible. So let's say that the rent on this property is, say, $2,500. Let's see if that works, okay? So $2,500. We look down here and we see that the property, this sounds about right, it negatively cash flows $80, okay? So the rent credit, in this case, let's pretend the rent credit is $200. That brings it up to $2,700, okay, $200 rent credit, okay? Come down here, now we're monthly cash flowing $119, okay? So just to stay true to what we were talking about, I'm going to make this $2,800 just to show the 200, okay? Just to make it, congruent with what I was saying about the monthly income, okay? So we have this rent to own. We have a property with, say, and we're going to leave it as let's say it's a $300 rent credit, just to keep it the same. So $300 rent credit, and we have they've given us, how much have they given us? Who can tell me how much we're looking for as a minimum for the rent to own? What should we be looking for non-refundable? Yeah, 3%. So if I look at this, and we'll just do this down here. Okay, we're going to do this down here. If I do this, 1 second. This is not the most updated sheet because I know I changed this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to go. So the retail value of this property is $400,000. Okay, and the non-refundable option consideration is going to be $12,000. Okay. So we've taken $12,000 from them. Okay, and then we have rent credits. Okay, rent credits are $300. Let's say on this property. Okay, so $300, and we have it. Let's go 12 months. Okay, so in 12 months, I go 300 times 12, 3,600. and I have the non-refundable of 12,000. Okay, so if I take this money, and they decide to purchase the house in the first year, and let's say that we do 5%. Okay, so 5%. So if I do 5%, and they say, so we say, look, if you want to buy this house, we're going to charge you 5% for appreciation. The value is going to be 420. So if I purchase the house, now look at this. Just want to keep something in mind. The house, like the asking price, we haven't actually got a discount on the asking price. So let's be real. Let's say that the property was 400 and we got it for 390. Okay, well actually let's go 5% drop, so 380, which is realistic. Okay, everybody with me? So we got the property for 380,000. It was originally listed for 400. Okay, is everybody good with that? So it's a 5% drop basically. No repairs or anything. It's just, you know, a property. We got a $20,000 discount, which is just a 5% drop. Weren't we supposed to tell the TB the price, the tenant buyer? The tenant buyer it's listed at the retail price. So the retail price, let me go down here. The retail price is what we started at. This price, okay? Now the negotiation, what we negotiate for, that's ours. Whether we negotiate this for 390, 380, 350, it doesn't matter. What they're looking at and what we're letting them know is the property's asking price was 400. That's the retail value. We're measuring it from retail, okay? Everybody with me? We're measuring it from retail. So we could have got this for 390. We could have got it for 360. We could have got it 350. I'm just dropping it 5% because that's doable in retail markets, okay, when you're paying retail. So they don't see the price we got it for, because if we negotiate well, that's ours. They're not overpaying. The retail value of the property at the current market value of the property is 400. So they know that ahead of time. They know that they know what the property is valued at. You know, and in a lot of cases, they're going to pick the property. How about when we sign the contract? What do you mean by that? Wouldn't they know the actual price? The actual price of what? The house? Why would they know the actual price of the house that we paid? No, they wouldn't know. Why would they know? And it really doesn't matter if they know. I mean, they could know. You could tell them. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You could tell them if you wanted to. It's not. You're not hiding anything. The house value is $400,000. You negotiated good. I mean, you were good at negotiating. What? Because let's be serious. If a tenant buyer is looking at a house that's worth $400,000, and you got this for $300,000, you're not going to say to them, "Oh, I negotiated really well. I got it for $300,000. Let's start there." You know, that equity is us. We did that, right? We negotiated. So what we don't want to do is overcharge them right over market value. The market value is 400. We're being transparent here. The house is worth 400. We negotiated a lower price. So we're not hiding that fact. They know the property value when we're talking about what they qualify for. So if the tenant buyer qualifies for a $400,000 property, at this point, right, at the first year, then we're going to go out and let them see properties that are worth $400,000. Now, if the retail value of that property is $400,000, but we negotiate because we're good at what we do for $380, that's ours. We get that. You got to remember, and when we sign the contract on lease option, would the CMHC allow us to do that? I don't know what you mean. Would CMHC do what? What do you mean by that? You're buying the house in this case. So CMHC is going to charge you insurance on $380,000, not $400,000. So they're not the tenant buyer. So remember, the tenant buyer is looking to purchase a home. we're going to go and find the home that they want. They see the home that they want. It's valued at $400,000. We don't let them negotiate on behalf of us. We're the owners, so we're going to go and negotiate the deal. We negotiate the deal for $380,000. That's all that's happened here. You know, we just negotiated for $380,000. But the retail value of that property is $400,000. So that's where the tenant buyer is going to start, the $400,000. Does that make sense to everybody? We're just negotiating a better price for us. We're the owners. Like, I mean, we're buying the house. So, you know, for them, it's they're looking at a $400,000 house. That's what the market said it was worth. This is us being able to negotiate. Okay. So if we move forward and we look at, so the non-refundable, $12,000, the rent credits, say for 12 months, is $36,000. Okay. So this is what I have to return back to the owner. Yes? Everybody see that? I got to return this back to, I got to return $15,600 back to the owner. Everybody good? Okay, so how much have I made in 1 year? So the value of the property is what now? Well, the value is $420,000. Okay? It's $420,000. So $420,000, because that's what the value is now, right? If they buy it in first year. Okay, so $420,000, that's the value. Then I look at what I paid for. So what did I pay for it? $380,000. Okay? Okay? So they paid, but if I did $380,000 and now it's worth $420,000, what's the difference? This minus this. So in the first year, I've already made $40,000. Everybody see that? Okay. Now, to stay fair to this particular property that we're using as an example, I was losing $80 a month. I was losing $80 a month. Okay, everybody got that? I was losing $80 a month. Okay? That's actually due to the financing because we had no money into this property. That's why that was so low. But anyways, let's leave it. So my net, I'll just write it. Income was minus $80. Okay, that's only really because of the way we did the financing. But let's say it was $80. Okay, so and yeah, that's right, Jane and Mike, you're right. The mortgage is less too because the capital pay down in a year is roughly $5,000. We paid it down $5,000, so that's a good point. So that's an extra $5,000 in the what I actually owe, right? What I actually owe. Okay, so net operating income is $80. I'm going to say it was also 12 months, right? So I'm going to go equals 12 months times $80 loss. So I lost $960. So what I have at the end is $39.40. Okay, the pay down on the property is roughly $5,000 per year. So what we can do is we can actually drop this by, let's say we owe $370. Okay, sorry, $375. There we go. So in the first year, you're up $44,000. Okay. So if you take this money ahead of time, if you spend the $300 and you spend the $12,000, you're out $15,600. You still have to give them that money back, but you're already up in your first year $44,040. Everybody see that? So the question of can I take that money? Well, yes, you can. You know, as long as the contract that you agree with doesn't say that it has to sit in escrow or somewhere, you know, that you can't touch it. So in the first year, in fact, you know, it wouldn't be terrible. You know, it's not bad for us that they close in the first year. That's fine for us. That's fine for us. You know, if they close in the second year, you know, we go the second year, right? Now it's 441. Now we're dealing with 441. You know, it's too many zeros. Now the number, you know, this doesn't change. Well, this part, the 12,000, but this would 24 months. So now we're giving them 7,200 back. We're still way ahead. Does everybody see how we're way ahead? We're way ahead. And if I made this 24 months even, we'd still be way ahead because the way this is structured, you're already in profit from day one. Okay? Let's just to show you an example here. What if we only got it for 390? Would we be okay? 390,000. Would we still be okay? Well, if we got it for 390,000, would we still be okay? Well, yeah, we'd still be okay. We'd still be okay because 390,000. So let's go over here. So 385. It would be 385 because of the 5,000, and that's for 1 year. If we did 2 years, like this is showing, 2 years, this would actually be 380. Everybody with me? So 5,000 a year, right? Roughly 5,000 a year. So we're still way ahead, even if we paid, 380. Sorry, 390 for the property, and we went 2 years. If we went 1 year, would we still be okay? Well, yeah, let's change this to 385 because only 1 year passed. Let's change this to 12 months. Let's change this to 12 months. Okay, am I still okay? Yeah, I'm still okay. Let's change this. Actually, my apologies, 420. Okay, I'm still okay. Do you see that? I'm still okay. So if they buy it in the first year, I'm still okay. I'm still way ahead on this property. That's if I paid 390. That's if I paid 390. Okay. If I paid 400, let's pretend I paid 400,000 for the property. Okay. Would I still be okay? Even if I paid 400,000 for this property, I'd still be okay. Everybody see that? Because if I paid retail for it, I'm still guaranteed this money right here. You see, they have to buy it for the appreciation, and that's at 5%. Does that make sense to everybody? So you can use the money. You should be able to, based on the numbers, right? You have to run the numbers on this stuff, but you're immediately ahead. And the reason these are appealing to us, these rent to owns are appealing to us, is because you cannot predict the future. But with a rent to own, you can predict the future because the property's value is in contract. It's under contract, right? So what if property prices drop? Okay, so if they drop, okay, so you tell me. So monthly, most in markets, I see it's 3% appreciation. So use 3. If you use a 3% appreciation, okay? So if you use a 3% appreciation and you go 412, okay? Each market is separate. Each market is separate. But let's see what would happen. So in this case, would I be okay? Would I be okay? Would I be okay if I only got a 3%? If I said 3% as the appreciation? No, I wouldn't be okay. I would be losing money. But see, this is folks. This is why we run numbers, to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a bad deal. So if you're giving a 3% appreciation, and look at all the things that we stacked against ourselves. Just to give you a second, okay? What do we stack against ourselves? Well, we didn't get a discount on the price because we paid full retail. So there's no discount in there, okay? Which is unlikely. But let's just say it was. If I ran the numbers and I couldn't get a discount on this property, and I was losing $80 a month, which, by the way, we're not really losing $80 a month, but we left it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it is what it is. If I did that and I left this to 2,700, okay, if I did it regularly, 10, 10, 10, right? And I paid my investor 10%, by the way, okay? It says here that, what did I do? 27,000. Sorry about that. Okay, 2,700. Come down here. Cash flow is 508. Everybody see that? Purchase price is 400. Purchase price, yeah, let's do 400. Yep, let's do 400. You're right. Let's do 400. So the purchase price is 400. So the asking price is 400. The purchase price is 400. That means you didn't get a discount on the property. But let's just say you couldn't get a discount on the property. And again, folks, this is why you run numbers. If you can't get a discount on this property, don't pretend you can. Put the numbers in. But if I put in the numbers of 400,000, okay, and I come down here, and this property actually cash flows with the rent credit, it cash flows $464. Okay, $464, and I've only increased it by 200. Okay, so this now changes to $400. $400, which was the cash flow, because I'm going to give it back to them. Okay, look at this. Everybody see this? 464. Let's 464. Just leave it there. 464. So if I paid retail for this property, retail, okay, and I increased the rent credit by $200, and I took my 3%, okay, so 3%, $200 times 12 is $2,400. I would owe them at the end of the term $14,400. Okay, the value of the property, we will only use 3%. It's $400,000. We paid full retail, no discount. So we got to give them that $12,000 back. My apologies. We made $12,000 on the value versus purchase and sale. Net operating income, we made $464. That's 12. That's $5,568. We'd be up $17,568 if we took out what we owed them. So let's do this. Leave it there. Equals this minus this. We made $3,168 on this lease option. Would we want to do this lease option? No. No, that's it. That's why we run numbers. I mean, we've stacked ourselves pretty tough on this property. No discount, right? And only 3%. So no, we wouldn't do it. So look what happens if I bring this back to 5%. Okay? If I bring it back to 5%, now it's 420. Let's just do this. And by the way, this is 1 year. This is only 1 year. If I take this to 5%, now I'm up 11,000. If I get a little discount, like a little discount, 390 or 390,000. My little discount, 390,000. Okay, and I put this to 390,000. Sorry, I put this here to 390 minus my 5,000 for capital appreciation pay down. So that'd be 385,000. Okay, all of a sudden I'm up $26,000. That's for the appreciation going to 5, and I'm getting a $10,000 discount on a $400,000 property. You know, that's all doable. None of that is tough to do. So let's go back to 3. Let's say the market says only 3. If the market only said 3% for whatever reason, you'd still be up 18 grand. That'd still be appealing, to tell you the truth. That'd still be okay. And that's at a 3%. So there's lots of ways to do this. Whatever way we decide to do this, it has to make us money, right? We're looking for 20 grand roughly per year, right? So should net 30K, correct? The loan to should be what? L20. L20. Should be what, sorry? L20. L20. What are you looking at? I'm sorry. Lease to own should net 30K. I'm sorry. I thought you meant L20. No, actually, you're looking for 20K per year, roughly. That's only a 1 year option. If we went 2 years, right? It'd be 424. 424. Okay. 360. Then we look at this going down to 380 because of capital appreciation pay down. 380. This would be 24 months. Okay. This would be 24 months. Okay. Give you an idea. And just double checking the cash flow is 508. This would be 508. So you'd make 40,000 in 2 years at 3%. Everybody see this? If we bring an investor, how would we split the income? Well, you could do that. Here we did bring in an investor. In this case, we pay the investor 10%. So if we pay the investor 10%, the investor is going to make 10% of 39,000 per year. If we did this, though, we could bring in an investor here and have no payment, and come down here, and the investor would make half of the cash flow, which is 422. They'd make half of the, so that would be over 36 months. So that would be let's go 24 months on this example. So, and they would make the difference in the capital gains, which would be, the value would be this value, 34, because we paid 390, it's grabbing 390. So this would be equals to, give me 1 second, because it's grabbing the 390. That's what it's grabbing. All right, here we go. It would be 23,000, so total income, capital gains would be half of that, 23,000. So they'd make 22,000 on the property, and that needs to go the other way. Hold on 1 sec. Equals this divided by this equals 56%. So if you brought in an investor and you shared the profit, they'd make 56%. But we'd have to, that's not exact because I'd have to do capital appreciation, pay down, and stuff like that. But they would make 50%, say, profit if you split it. That's for a 2-year lease option. You could bring them all in, like they put up the mortgage, they put up all the money, they would make more, and it would be better for you because you'd have no money in the deal. Again, to take into account the reduction in mortgage. You're looking at about 5,000. Yeah, 5,000 a year. It depends. After 2 years, it'd be 10,000. Yeah, it'd be 10,000. Yeah, exactly. So this number would be, really it's 380. 380 would be what we owed from this amount. This is just looking at capital appreciation from the actual retail starting value. So in 2 years, you'd save about 10 grand. So you drop the price about 10 grand. So it'd be higher than that. It'd be another 10,000. They'd get another 5,000 on that deal. Does that make sense? And the reason we started the exercise, remember, the reason we started the exercise was the question was, can we use the money? Well, when you run your numbers, if you couldn't use your money, that means you're not making enough money on the deal, right? You should be looking at 20,000 per year, roughly. It doesn't have to be exactly, but 20,000 is fair. So, unless it's been contracted differently, you can use that money. You should be able to use that money and recover that easily through the investment, even if they only did it for 1 year. Anybody have any questions about that? Sam, can you send us this sheet to download? Yeah, I'm gonna update this sheet. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna take this stuff out. I'll take this stuff out. Does anybody need this stuff anymore? Because I'm taking it out. I don't want to, this is not set up properly to do the numbers, so I don't want to leave it in there. But the rest of it I made some changes already. So let's clear this content. Okay. And I will, should we only use lease option when the market is up? No, you can use the lease option anytime you want as long as the numbers make sense. It's just you're going to have more tenant buyers in a rising market than a dropping market. You know what I mean? That makes sense? Let me do something here, by the way. Yeah, okay, give me 1 second. So if you have any questions, write them. I just want to make a formula change to this right here. So I wanted to use purchase price, repairs is 0. So you know what? I'm going to make this ARV no matter what. That way I can use this equals ARV. Let's check that. Sorry, folks, I'm just talking to myself here. You can answer questions or ask questions. 50,000, 440. And that gives me the right price. No, because the ARV. Yeah, that would be the ARV if there was, because it would go up to this price. That makes sense. Okay. So if you had to repair it, that's good. But the thing is, what if, so let me do something here. C7 less than this, then this. If it is, then this. That should do it. Yep, there we go. So let's say, so it's always going to use that price. That's good. I like that. So ARV actually should be, you're not going to see an ARV higher. Oh, I see. Okay, I have to do it here. Give me 1 second. Yeah. I did the same thing. Okay. This, is less than this, then this. Not then back to this. There we go. There we go. I should have just done that in the first place. Now I can just go equals this. Okay, let's test that out. Hold on 1 second. 10,000. What if I had 10,000 in repairs? 400,000. What if I had 50,000? 440. That's right. Should be 440 with the after repair. Yep, that's working. Okay, that's fixed. That's good. All right, so this is good. Now it'll do it for us. Okay. The other thing, the expenses are already fixed. So that's good. That's fixed. And probably want to do, let's do this. Let's do, can't put it there. I was going to add a rent credit, but let's not do that right now. Okay. Any other changes you want to see or you'd like to help you? Anybody? No, we're good? Okay. So I'll let you all download this one now, okay? So before we run out of time, we got about 12 minutes. Michael, you want to give us your numbers? Okay. Can you I don't know if that's gonna work. Let's try that. We don't want everybody listening. See what this gives me. Here's the link for it. This is for the listing or the sheet? Oh, it's the sheet for you. Okay. Let me use Google Sheets. All right. Working. Still working here. Where is here? Okay. So I'm going to put the numbers here. Okay. All right, here we go. So properties 450. Repairs are 0. Purchase price is 450. Okay. Oops. Get rid of one of those zeros. Okay. Units are 3. 1946. 23. That all adds up. 20%. So here you had for expenses. You had 5, 5, and 10. Good. All right. We have these expenses. Let's read only. Okay, I'll just put in the numbers. 5926. That's 115. 2425. That's 168. 149426. 5 708 03 1788 decimal 13. Okay, that's good. Go over here. Go over here. People's match. They do. They do. Wow. That's not looking good. Okay. 1946. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Whoa. So, and is there any seller financing in this? Okay. How much? Can take a portion. Well, I'll tell you what you should be gearing for is this. That's what you should be gearing for. You're going to need him to take maybe more than 50K. Let me tell you why. Because if it's a commercial property, a lot of lenders like to be in the 65 range. Now, you can get a lender that'll do more. Really depends on the lender, right? But if they're only doing 50K, that's only 10%. So you would need 80, 10, and 10. If they go 65 and he goes 10, you got to come up with 25. See that? That can be sorted out. That can be sorted out. So let's just assume it's 65, 25, and 10. Let's just assume that for now. And what did you say you would give him for a mortgage, like vendor finance? Did you give him a number? What did you offer him for percentage? New lease. What do you mean by that? No, for the loan amount. What did you offer for percentage? So if he's doing a VTB at 25% or at whatever number it is, did you offer him a percentage? Interest rate. Didn't discuss. It's the vendor, so he wants to sell. 6% is probably okay. Really, it is in these kind of cases. Doesn't have to be 10% because they're not an investor. They're just the seller financing and it's commercial property. He wants to sell. Okay. So when we come down here, this thing bleeds about $622 per month, $22,000 a year. Okay, is what it's going to cost. And to tell you the truth, I would bump that to 4.5 for commercial real estate. So you're looking at about a loss of $24,000. Okay, so with this property, you would need to. What you're saying that the expense is going to be this one, the electricity, that's what's going to go down, or the water? Okay, so if I make these 0, let's say, I come back here, I'm still down 17 grand. And gas, I took that out. So you only have, and gas too, okay, all right. There you go. So we have taxes and insurance. Okay. So we're down 15 grand. Okay. So even if we did, let's say you got a residential mortgage on it. Let's pretend you did. Okay. We did 10, 10, and 10. You'd still be down 14 grand. But the lease can be about 3,600. Okay, so let's do that. Let's put it in. Yeah, let's put it in. 3,600. So if it was 3,600, where would we be? So at 3,600, you make $33 per unit. So $100 basically on the property. Does that sound right to you? Like as in the numbers you got? Yeah, this is a big problem. The big problem is this guy, for whatever reason, is bleeding money. Is he a tenant in the property? No? This property's a huge problem, and a huge problem for this guy. And it's okay to, we only get paid when we solve problems, but this problem is large, and if he's unwilling to work with us, we can't solve this problem for it. We're never going to take on a problem that, if we're just taking this guy's problem away, what are we doing it for? How are we getting compensated for that? So, this value is is way over what it should be. Like way over. Like, you know, even if let's do 400. Let's do 400. Let's see what 400 is like. Oops. That's right? 400,000? Yeah, let's see what that is. That'd be better if you drop the price. You know, 3,600 would be 4 units. Yeah, that won't help. That won't help. That'll actually drop our per unit. You know, it's not going to change our numbers. It'll change the per unit number. So this property, in my view, is way overvalued. Can you legally increase the rent that much? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Sure, you can. For commercial, you can. If the lease is up, you can renegotiate anything you want. You can make the lease anything you want. One is not being collected. One is not being collected. Oh, that's okay because of the donation. I get you. This thing's bleeding money. It's bleeding money. So I don't imagine that this can work. What's your interest in this particular property? Do you know the person, or is there any kind of relationship with you and the person? Close to your property, or close to you, the person? To my property. Okay. I'll tell you what you could do. Okay, is you could do a. This is maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, or maybe we can bring it up on the next one. But you could do a rent to own. You could do a rent to own with this guy. And the idea behind that is you pay him $1 for a price that you agree on. Say you agree to $450. Let's just say you agree to $450. Okay? And what you do is you say, look, your expenses, if we go back to here, we gotta go back. Your expenses are all the way back. Okay, your expenses are that's 20%. Your expenses are, let's see what that is, 22,000 is your expenses. So your expenses, are 22,000. You bring in just over that, 23,000. Okay. So what I'll do is I will take over your property over the next 12 months, or make it a 3-year lease option. And what I'll do is I'll try to get your business right. And if the business can be made right, then I'll pay this price for it. If the business can't be right, you'll get the property back. But what I'll do is I'll make the business right, and for that, I will pay you this price. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? That make sense? Repeat, please. Okay, no problem. So a rent to own, all you're doing is rent to own. So you're doing a deal where you're the person that's renting to own. So your rent on this property will be the exact expense cost. So you'll pay him $22,000 rent a year, which is just under $2,000 a year a month. So you'll pay him, say $1,800 a month in rent. That covers his expenses. Is everybody with me so far? So you're going to pay him exactly what it costs to run the building. Okay. So let's say to run the building it costs $1,800. So you say to him, "I'll pay you $1,800. That'll cover all your expenses." Okay. He's not going to make any money. He's not making money at this point probably anyways. But the $2,000 covers all the expenses, so you're not out any money. That's the main thing. You get that, Michael? You're not out any money, right? And what you do is you take over the business, you make all these changes, and after you make all these changes, if you do if you believe that this thing can be profitable after a year, you do a 2-year lease option with him, and you pay him $1 to do the option, right? The lease is going to be $1,800 a month. The lease option, it gives you the right but not the obligation to buy the house. Let's say you agreed price is $425,000 or $450. It doesn't really matter. The point being is, this allows you to take, if you think this business is worth it, to take over the business, take very little risk, get the business right, and when the business is right, then you buy it. Because when you buy it, the business's value will be greater than the agreed upon purchase price. Does everybody understand what I just said? And you want to do that because you need the lease option. You need the lease option because if you build this business up and you make it more valuable, you have to have control of it. And that's what the option does. The option gives you the right but not the obligation to buy the property, but it also excludes him selling it to someone else. Where did the $1,800 come from? I just did $1,800 because you're telling him, you got to remember, these are his expenses, right? These two things are his expenses, right? So if you take these two, right, just to give you an example, if I sum these two, and I divide it by 12, it's $1,834. Did you see that? So you would say to him, I'll pay you $1,834 a month, right? Because you're not there to make him money, right? You're just saying, look, this is a problem for you. And for me to take this problem away from you, I can't take it the way it is. But if you want, I can help you make it right, and I can buy the property when it's right. So what I'll do is I'll agree to pay you a lease for the whole property of $1,834. That covers your expenses, basically, right? Now remember, the good thing for you is you haven't bought in the place. You haven't bought in the place. You don't own it, but you control it. You can't sell it to anybody. So you don't have to get a mortgage. You don't have to do anything. But you get an option agreement to control the price that you're going to pay in 2 years or 1 year or wherever. How long do you think it takes to fix, right? 2 years. And when you go to buy the property and finance the property, the value will be greater, which will give you more flexibility in financing the property. So if we rent the unit that we don't collect that $1,000, so if we rent the unit that could, okay, that's your money. If you can get more money out of the property during your control period, that's yours. That's yours. What do you mean, so it's only costing you $800? I don't know what you mean. Are you telling me that this guy collects $946? That's the real number? Okay, so if he collects $2,000 without the $1,000, that's what you're saying, right? I'm paying him $1,800, right? Yeah, you're paying him $1,800, but we're only agreeing to that because the rents that come in currently are over $1,800. You see that? So if you can get another $1,000 out of it in your 2-year lease option agreement or 1-year lease option agreement, that money's yours. Any money you increase, you make on this property is yours. So if you bring in, you're gonna making $100, basically $100 right now. But if you reduce the expenses, if you increase the rents, if you find ways to increase the revenue from the property, that's your money. That's your money. That's right. Your job is to make the property better. So during that time, any money that you make is yours. Any increase you make is yours. It should be yours. Does that make sense to everybody? But you got to make sure that the property, the numbers have to be right on this, yes? You got to make sure that you're not taking on this property and taking a loss, right? A deposit as usual. Do we offer a deposit? You mean like for the option agreement? Is that what you mean? $1. $1. You're only giving him $1 because you're doing him a favor. Remember, everybody, we're doing this guy a favor. This property is not worth $450. You're saying to him, I got a plan that can get the property up to something. It's bleeding. Yeah, the property's bleeding. I'll do what I can to help you, but I'm not going to lose money managing your property, getting it better. I'm not going to take a loss. That's ridiculous. That's crazy, right? That's not. So if you're already collecting 19, then why would the seller agree to give us 1,800? Because 1,800 covers the expenses. It covers the expenses. You got to remember, this guy clearly is not managing this property to its full potential. At least that's what we think, right? So he wants to sell the property because, for whatever reason, this is us saying, look, I can't pay $450 as it sits, but if you want, I'll take away this problem, at least temporarily, to see if I can get the value up, and then I'll pay you your money. And what the benefit to you is you don't have to worry about this property. I'll pay the expenses. I'll pay all the expenses. Your expenses currently are $1,834 a month. That's what I'll pay you. So this guy now, his property is not his problem anymore. It's not his problem. You got to remember, this property, the financing is what makes the property bleed. It's the financing. You see? It's the financing. But currently the property makes almost nothing. Almost nothing. It makes, the cash flow per unit per month is $111 after expenses. That's all this property is making if you paid cash. So clearly this thing's in rough shape as an investment, at least. Can I do reno? Yeah, of course you can. You tell them, you put that in the agreement. But you got to remember, if you're doing renos, you don't want to go crazy, because if you're paying the cost of that reno, you got to keep that in mind, Or you put in the agreement, any renos get agreed upon by him and he pays them. Like, you got to remember, it's still his property. It's still his property. So the renos should come from him, not you. Well, you put that in the agreement. You put that, it's on him. You put that in the agreement. That's all in the agreement. You're not taking this property and its problems off this guy's hands completely. Like, you can't say to him, well, anything goes wrong with this property, it's on me. No, that's not what you're doing here. You're trying to figure out a way to pay this guy his money. You're trying to figure out a way to pay, but he can't pay it in its current state. So you're saying, look, let me see what I can do to manage this property to its real value. And then I'll pay you the money. But I can't pay it to you now. I can't. How do you put that in agreement for renos? You just literally put in the agreement. Yeah, exactly. We're property managers until the property is valued at what we think it should be or what it can be, and then we'll buy it. And if we find out it doesn't or we can't, we just give it back to them. Yeah, there's a lot of, it is very cool, but there's a lot of dotting I's and crossing T's with this. You understand? There's a lot, but it's doable. I'm just looking at the property and I'm saying, what could we do? That's all I'm doing. If you really want to look at it and you think it's something, that's the only solution I see. That's the only solution I see. And we still have to run numbers on that to make sure it makes sense. You still have to run numbers. Okay, let me do something real quick before I forget here. Hold on. Let's save this sheet. Okay, I'm going to bring up the file. This is the file we just used. So add files to share. Hold on one second, folks. Don't anybody go anywhere. So that is 9. You know what? Let's save it to something else. Hold on one second. Save as 95. There we go. Give me 1 second. So there it is. Okay, so this is the new file I want everybody to grab, okay? And then we're going to wrap up the meeting, okay? So everybody grab that file. That's the most updated one, the one we just used where I made those updates. Okay. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the meeting. We're a little over. I think we're 10 minutes over or so. Yeah, a little over 10 minutes. And what we'll do is we'll follow up next Tuesday, same bad time, same bad channel, and we'll answer any questions. If you come up with any questions about this kind of stuff, we can talk about it definitely on next Tuesday's meeting. Okay. All right. Are we good? Are we all good? Everybody got the file? If you're good, type in yes. Good. 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 My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Send me any deals you want me to do on Tuesdays. I love doing this stuff on Tuesdays so everybody can see it. Okay. All right. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, folks. I'm going to close out the meeting.